Hey guys, it's Jana and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, as you can tell by the title, I am going to be discussing my labor and delivery story, sorry. And yeah guys, this video is long overdue, but I finally found the one motivation, found the time, and just, I was like, you know what, let me just get up and finally make this video. So the last video I have on my channel, I was 37 weeks pregnant, y'all. Damn! Like, whoo! It was a long time, okay? So obviously, like I said, I had my baby. We've been, living, finding our groove for about a month now, almost 2 months. And yeah, I finally decided, like, it's time for me to make this video. What is up, y'all? It's been a long time, okay? I missed you guys. I missed being in front of this camera. I missed my channel. I missed everything. And yeah, guys, I'm just so glad to be back. And this story, y'all, this story is a story, but nonetheless, it blessed me with my beautiful baby boy, and I'm so happy. And yeah, so guys, oh my god, wow! I want you all to meet King Bakari. His first name is King Bakari because he is a king. He is, y'all. He's gonna do great things in this world, and I'm just so grateful that God has blessed this beautiful little soul in our lives. And yeah, so this is my beautiful son. He is 1 month. He will be 2 months in on the 22nd of this month. He came on his due date, January 22nd, 2021, and boy did he come. Okay, he came with some fire. But this is my beautiful baby, y'all. Yeah. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into this story. Hopefully he allows me to get through the whole story without fussing, but no, my baby, he probably won't. But that's alright. Mommy got you. Alright, so as previously mentioned, my beautiful baby boy came on his due date, which was January 22nd, 2021. And yeah, so let's take it back a little bit into the labor part. When did labor start? So labor started for me on January 21st, 2021. So the whole day I was in labor, from actually the morning till night. So it's funny because I was on the phone with my sister, I remember it, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And we were on FaceTime, we were talking, and I was having like contractions, but I'm like, oh, I know what this is. This is just Braxton Hicks, this ain't nothing. I'm talking to her, I'm like, yeah, it's just gonna pass. And she's like, no, I think you're in labor, I'm like, nah. She's like, okay. But I'm like, she's like, but all right. I was like, yeah, so, but, whoa, what the hell was that? But I'm like, you know what? Let me just lay down, get in bed, just in case, She's like, yeah, call me if anything. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we hang up the phone, and I get in bed, and I was tired anyway. So like I said, it's like 10, 11 o'clock now. I'm in the bed, and I'm talking to my boyfriend, and I told him, I'm like, well, I'm having contractions, but I think they're probably just Braxton Hicks or whatever. Probably no need to worry.
6.5 hours later.
Fast forward to 3 a.m. when those contractions was hitting, okay? So I'm like, these are a little bit stronger than the Braxton Hicks that I'm used to, so I think this may be labor. So I go ahead and I text my, oh, you're so cute. I text my doula, and I'm like, hey girl, I've been having contractions since like 10. I'm not sure, but I may be in labor. What, boo-boo? What's the matter? What? I'm like, I may be in labor. So she's like, okay, just keep me posted. Start timing them. Oh, 1 second, y'all. Okay, so I started timing them, and they weren't like as consistent, but they were definitely contractions, and they were very inconsistent, but they were lasting for like a little bit or whatever. I'll probably try to, because I still have the app where I'll post all my contractions and insert a picture of like how frequent they were coming and things like that. So now this is at 3 a.m. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just try to get some sleep because I don't know how this is gonna go, how this is gonna turn out. So I started timing them, but nah, like I was up that whole time. So my boyfriend ended up staying home with me. He didn't go to work that day because we didn't know what was gonna happen or whatever. All right, so let's fast forward. I was having contractions all day, but I was like, you know what, let's get this rolling. So we went on a walk. I might insert some footage of that here because I did record that day. But we went on a walk and I was just walking. I'm just trying to keep the contractions consistent, trying to, you know, dilate a face, do all of the good things that needed to happen so this boy can come out. You know, so the contractions were kind of strong. They were painful, but you know, they weren't as bad. I mean, as that I thought. You know, in the beginning of labor, you don't think that they can progress to what they actually feel like, and boy, them things ended up killing. Okay, them things hurt. But like I said, we walked downtown from where I live. That's about like I want to say like 40-minute walk or whatever. So we did that, and then we Ubered back because Mama couldn't take another walk back. So we got back to the house, and let's see, what did we do? I want to believe that we finally, you know, we're last minute. We set up our car seat, our stroller and things like that, and we were just like playing and stuff with that. And yeah, the day kind of went smooth. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Like, it did obviously progress, but it wasn't too bad. I wasn't like all day. And yeah, so I want to say my doula came around, no, I want to fast forward to 10 p.m. because that's when stuff picked up for me, okay? So it's 10 p.m. now, and like I said, I'm in contact with my doula throughout the whole day, just like keeping her, you know, in check, like keeping her up to date of what's going on. And yeah, so it's 10 p.m. now, and I'm writing her and I'm like, hey, these things are like picking up. They're, you know, almost a minute apart. They're lasting like a minute. Like these things, what was it? I think it's 5-1, so 5 minutes apart. Yeah, they're like 5 minutes apart, lasting at least a minute for an hour. Right, so I'm letting her know, I'm like, hey, I think it may be time for us to head to the birthing center, which is an hour away from me, which is why I tried to, like, you know, schedule it so that way when we get there, like, we don't have anything to wait for. So she's like, all right, let's try to hold off a little bit longer. So she's telling me to wait another hour. I'm like, this thing hurt, y'all. So by then I'm like, okay, I got in my shower, turned the shower on, and I'm just contracting in there. Very, very painful. God bless my boyfriend because he's just very supportive. He was massaging me, rubbing me, doing all the good things, but whew, y'all, it hurt. So finally, but at 10 o'clock, I'm like, hey, but I think you should come over here. She's like, okay. So my doula comes. It's like 10:30. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait no more. We need to go now. Like, this is very painful. So as my doula walked in, I was on the phone with my midwives. I'm like, hey, I've been contracting for like an hour. They're a minute apart. 5 minutes apart. They're lasting a minute. Can I come up? They're like, well, we can't tell you not to come, but if you feel like you should, then you can. I'm like, all right, great. We'll be there in an hour. It was 11 o'clock. I'll be there by 12 a.m. Let's just get there. They're like, okay, we'll see you then. So now we're getting out the door, you know. We're just like, we're ready to go. Yeah, so I'm in the back seat, and them contractions was hitting, y'all. Okay, them things were coming in. Now, mind you, I practiced hypnobirthing throughout the duration of my pregnancy, and I was, you know, I had my track on in the car. My boyfriend played it through the speakers so I can just hear it and just like try to meditate and focus on my breathing as they came. But y'all, it was very, very difficult. Very, very difficult because when your body is doing what it wants to do, you really have to focus to try to like not stay in control, but like just guide it where it needs to be. And it was very, very difficult. All right, so we're in the car now, and I'm contracting, and I'm just, like I said, it's an hour away, so I'm just, you know, focusing. I'm trying to breathe. I'm trying to listen to the meditation tracks, the affirmations, and y'all, it's a time. All right, so finally we get there. It's 12 a.m. now, and we walk downstairs, and I had like 3 contractions before I walked downstairs. And yeah, at this point, I'm on my hands and knees in my midwife's office. Like, it's so painful. You know, so finally after my contraction hits, I get on the table. She okay. Alright, so I get on the table, and she checks me. And y'all, when this lady checks me, she says, all right, yeah, so you're about 1 centimeter. And I'm like, huh? 1 centimeter, y'all. My heart dropped. So now going forward, I think that like I'm really gonna try my hardest to wait as long as I can to find out how far dilated I am, because that literally did something to me. Like I kind of got like discouraged and I just wanted to quit, even though obviously I couldn't. But I'm like, yo. But she said you're 1 centimeter dilated, but you're 100% effaced, meaning my cervix was thinned out. All I needed to do was open, right? So I'm like, okay. So after that, she's like, we can't admit you, but you can either go home or you can check into a hotel. Like I said, it was an hour away. I said, I'm not going home. So we went to the hotel, and oh God, that's when things just like kicked up. Okay. So now we're in the hotel, and like I said, I'm on my hands and knees. I didn't care at this point, like hands and knees in the middle of the lobby floor. Okay. The guy at the front desk is looking. He's not saying anything. I'm just like screaming. I'm in pain. I'm like, oh my God, right? So I'm like, where's this room? I'm just trying to get to a bathtub. I wanted to be in the water. The water was definitely helpful. Okay, so we finally get to our room, go straight to the bathroom, turn the water on in the tub. And my doula, she's amazing. She was just so attentive, so supportive throughout this whole time, her and my boyfriend. And I'm just so grateful. So we're in the bathroom, I'm in the bathtub, and she's like, helping me, she's turning on the water. But for me, I wanted to be in the water, and I also wanted the water from the shower to run on me too. It was just very soothing that way. So I'm in the water, and then I needed a towel that was wet to like place on me, like a blanket type thing. It was, I'll insert a picture. Oh.
Nope. This is your time to shine.
Yep, baby. You're doing great. So strong. Almost there. How you feel now?
Tired.
Tired?
On the way. Like being close and being close. That's fun. You might come in and close.
So fall asleep, you're gonna be lying there with you?
As long as one of us here to monitor the water, she all set.
But yeah, I farted in my sleep.
Rest when you can, okay? We're going to be quiet, not bother you. You want your coconut water back? Because I know you like it. Alright, where her coconut water at?
But I was in the tub. Every time a contraction hit, I'm turning, I'm standing up, I'm sitting down. I'm just trying to get through these contractions as best as possible because they were taking over my body. All right, so I want to say I was in the hotel for about an hour and a half and things picked up in an hour and a half. So like I said, I was 1 centimeter, and the hotel was literally like 2 minutes away from the birthing center. So we went to the hotel, and once I'm there, things picked up. I'm in there, I'm talking to myself, I'm affirming myself. I'm like, you can do this, you got this. Like, I'm literally talking to myself over and over, just getting through these contractions. So finally, I got some motivation. I got something. I don't know what it was, but I got up. Well, I'm still in the tub, and I got on my knees, and I'm just like contracting that way. And the next thing you know, I feel this whoosh, like this big gush, like this big rush, and my water just like pops, like it breaks. I'm like, my water broke, like, let's go. And then I looked at my doula. She's like, okay, so now things are about to turn up. And I'm like, oh shit.
No, God, please, no, no, no.
What you mean turn up? Like, what do you call that? Like, and boy, when I tell you those contractions after your water break, that's a whole nother dimension. Like, that's a whole nother world. So now I'm like, oh no, guys. So now I'm just like, guys, this really hurts. Like, I don't know if I can do this. I can't do this. And they were doing their best supporting me. They're like, you can do this. You got this. But I'm like, no, I can't do this. I'm like, I need to go to the hospital now. Like, I need an epidural. So they're like, you know what? Okay. So I called my midwife. I'm like, I'm going to head to the hospital. This pain is too intense. I need an epidural. They're like, okay, go ahead, head over to the hospital, and we'll get your midwife, and she'll meet you there. I'm like, all right. So boom, we, like I said, was in the hotel for like an hour and a half. But hey, it got my water broke, and yeah. It got my water to break, and yeah. So, Oh, my baby's sleeping. All right, so we headed to. We're in the hospital lobby now, and because of COVID, we're not just able to walk up. Oh, boobies. We're not just able to walk up freely. You know, we had to stop at security. We had to have somebody walk me up, and my boyfriend and my doula had to wait until it was time for them to come up. So throughout this whole time, I'm contracting. I'm in pain. My contractions are hitting back to back. I'm like writhing in pain. Like I'm twisting and turning. I'm like, get me upstairs. I need an epidural now. I'm in so much pain. Right, and mind you, I don't know how far I am. I just know. And with each contraction, like my body was pushing. I'm like, why am I pushing? Like I was just like bearing down, and oh my God. So finally, we get upstairs. They get me into the room. Like everything moves so fast. They hook me up to the monitors, and they're making sure baby's okay. They're making sure I'm okay. Contractions are coming beautifully, and yeah. So now I'm just like, okay, where's the anesthesiologist? Like, can we just get this going? And like, she's in the room with another patient. She'll be here shortly. You're right after. You're next. I promise. She's coming. I wasn't trying to hear it, y'all. I'm like, why is she not here now? You know, so they check me. They're like, you're 5 centimeters. I'm like, wow, okay. So I went from 1 to 5 in like an hour and a half. Cool, right? So I'm just like in so much pain. But something wasn't right. You know, I can tell because after each contraction, my midwife would look at me and she had this like worried look on her face. So I'm like, okay, you know, but again, we're contracting. And then so finally she goes, you know, every time you have a contraction, the baby's heart rate drops. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Like it drops. So she's like, it drops to the 50s. And baby's heart rates are supposed to be, so dropping down to the 50s is very dangerous for a baby to be, especially, you know, not even like, especially after contracting because it's pushing and it's just not safe. So they're like, you know, we may have to think about a C-section because we don't know what's going on and we don't want the baby to continue to be in danger. Now, mind you guys, I'm hearing this, but I'm still in so much pain. So I'm like, where is this lady with this epidural? Like, we can have this conversation after I get my epidural, right? So
Good job, baby.
Go to your side. Yep, get back. You need to go on your side, sweetie. It's gonna be better for the baby to get a little more oxygen.
You got it, baby.
oh, okay. So they're like, again, she's with another patient. She'll be in here soon, right? I'm like, okay. But all the while, they're still monitoring me. They're monitoring the baby. They're still checking the contractions. And his heartbeat just kept dipping. So, finally, the anesthesiologist did come into the room. And she was, you know, going through her questionnaire, asking me all the questions that I needed to answer, so that she can safely administer the medication. So, right when she was about to, you know, my midwife was like, you know what, this isn't looking too good. In the OBGYN in the hospital, they're like, it's not looking too good. We think that we should just go ahead and go to that, get your C-section. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, whatever is safe for my baby. Everything just moved really fast. But I'm glad that I had my boyfriend and my doula there because, guys, my mind was on one thing and I was getting this baby out pain-free, right? So we get to the operating room and I have to go through a bunch of more questions, answer, sign things, and all that stuff. I lay on the table. I sit on the table, and she administers the spinal block. So actually, I didn't get an epidural. I got a spinal block. And the difference between that is the spinal, it will numb you from, like, your chest down versus an epidural numbing you from your waist down. So they give me that, and I kid you not, as soon as that medication hit me, though, I was like, yes. It was just a relief, you know. And yeah, so I lay on the table and my midwife checks me again, and y'all, I went from 5 centimeters to 9 centimeters. So once I heard that, I'm like, let me push him out, you know. I made it this far, I can just do it again. I can wait a little bit longer. And they're like, you know, honestly, we just gave you the spinal block, so you wouldn't be able to push even if you wanted to. So I'm like, damn, okay. So they commenced with getting things ready with the surgery, and about 10 minutes later, my beautiful baby boy arrived in this world. He was born at 3:55 a.m. on January 22nd. And y'all, honestly, it just moved so fast. Like, it went so fast. From the time my water broke till he came out, it was just like... he came out like this with an arm and then air. And yeah, my baby, he is here, nice and healthy. Heard that cry. He was hungry. And yeah. But it turns out that the reason why his heart rate was dipping was because the cord was wrapped around his neck and his body. And yeah, so it wouldn't have been safe for me to push him out anyway, because I could have suffocated my baby and he could have came out not breathing. So I'm just so grateful that I decided to go to the hospital when I did, and I'm just grateful things happened the way that it did. And y'all, that's about it for that story. So yes, I ended up having an emergency C-section. And yeah, everything that I planned for went out the window. And that's okay, because you know, that's how pregnancy is, that's how labor is. You just have to be accepting of what happens. As long as you and your baby is safe, that's all that matters. And yeah, so guys, that is my very crazy story of how I had an emergency C-section and delivered a very healthy baby boy. Yeah, I can get into more about how like recovery is, because that was another thing. Like I said, I didn't prepare for a C-section, so I was hit with some stuff, but nonetheless, we're here now. And yeah, so guys, thanks for listening to my little story. Thanks for following along, watching, and just tuning in with us. And I'll be back later with some more stuff. And yeah, you guys, so like I said, I'll be back later with some more videos this year. A lot of content on my baby boy, a lot of content on how just we're doing. And yeah, I just wanted to get this video out here because like I said, it's been long overdue. And I will see you later with another video. Bye.